I think growing up in the bush is more back to your roots, back to the earth, and you understand more about survival as a kid. You've got more freedom to run around. You've got, that's what I found. If you're born and bred there, you sort of know that things aren't always going to be good because of, an animal will die or your crop won't be as good one year, and there's just so many different variables. As you say, your machinery can go wrong, or and I think that for me it was really great foundations. In 1989, I think it was, I started with AGC, which was a very big agriculture and motor industry. It was in the motor industry. So I became a credit officer there, and that was a 5-year stint, and that's basically where I started in finance. So that set the foundations of understanding money lending and how it works. So it was like a bit of an apprenticeship, I guess. After school, everyone sort of didn't know what they wanted, well, unless you were doing physio or accounting or whatever it was that you were specifically on. And this particularly appealed to me because we were earning pretty good money at the time. I think I was on $19,500. I was paying $150 rent. We were young enough to have a lot of fun and work and make a good living. And at the same time, we were learning a lot. Like back in the late 80s, the companies were big on putting you through training and, understanding financials and balance sheets and, how money works. And I think that's where I sort of I became very interested in that career, in understanding people's financial abilities. And that's how it sort of started out from there, and actually left AGC in '94 and moved into a large Nissan and Honda dealership on the Gold Coast. And that sort of furthered my career in that retail side of lending. And I spent the next 4 years basically working inside dealerships in the UK as well. So I moved to the UK and worked for a company over there called Sumitomo, which is a big Japanese company, and did a lot of their wholesale funding and retail funding over there. Everything that I've learnt from day one is all about how well you come across to the people that you're dealing with. Not only the person that you are looking to help, but also the people that you're actually dealing with inside the banking institutions. If you've got a good rapport with them, they'll work well for you. Growing up in the country or growing up in the land, I look at it a bit like, in our industry, you're not given one scenario that's going to fit in the box. And you can't just tick the boxes on every single client, because every single person is individual and is different. And if you approach it with a tick a box exercise, which I find a lot of businesses do these days, you will inevitably fail. So growing up on the land or growing up at boarding school and learning all these things through having to deal with different sorts of scenarios, it equips you throughout life to be able to handle whatever things that come at you. What I find the most enlightening, and I still find at this moment, is that actually for my business and for lending, is when you actually help somebody achieve their goals when they didn't potentially understand they could get to that point. So for example, I've worked with Cameron on a number of clients, in particular in small business, and I can see the clients have potential, but they, one, don't have the accounting knowledge, and two, their funding's been not set up properly. So for someone such as Cameron that comes in and does that, looks at their funding, looks at their accounting, and I put together the funding, and they get the loan approved and their accounting records and everything is perfect, and they get the loan and they get the property, for me, that's the really highlight of the day. I'm like, that's what it's about. And for me, it's helping people achieve their end goals. And to this day, I still get enjoyment out of seeing the look on their face when they know they've done it, and the sense of appreciation. Whether it's helping a young girl buy their first home or a multi-millionaire buying 10 different properties, it's still the same feeling.